So let's talk about Star Wars. Star Wars is it's been delayed for the Knights of the Old Republic. If you're a Star Wars fan, might be a surprise to you. It might be upsetting news to you. To me, it's interesting because it's almost like you should have saw it coming in a way, but you wish it didn't come that way, right? So for people that don't know, the Knights of the Republic got announced, I think, about 2 years ago at the State of Play by PlayStation. It was a big thing by the developers, Asper, and they are known for porting titles.
Yeah.
So this is their first game they're actually doing. And as we speak about, by the time this episode comes out, it's like a week past for the news, but it has been paused indefinitely. And we don't, and this is only rumor. So it has not been confirmed. It's just a rumor talk. I think it was talked about through Kotaku. I believe they're the ones that came out with the news about that. So, and I don't think Asper is going to come out and say it's been delayed. It'll probably be either PlayStation blogging or something will announce that in some sort of way. But if this is really true, that is paused, the question is, what the hell happened? Well, maybe one of the theories, and I'll let Jaron bring it in because he is a big Knights of the Old Republic fan, and I'm kind of I'm still kind of new. I haven't even played the second one yet. I played the recent one. I told you last time I played, I was like, oh, I wish it got a little more of a tune-up. But anyways, that I think this game might be bigger than they thought it was going to be. And you're picking a game that was probably the most successful Star Wars game at the time that it came out. It was the very first big RPG game. And a lot of anticipation because you're taking away a game that was developed from the same developers that did, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, and the biggest iconic game that you can get at a penny at GameStop right now, Anthem. So,
yeah, keep in mind these are Western RPGs. KOTOR was the Western RPG at the time.
Yes, so successful they got a sequel later on. So
yes.
So the thing I guess it's not surprising is the fact you got a developer that not really people know of to do an iconic game like that. That's pretty risk taking.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but
it's a big shoes to fill. I mean, it's got a legacy.
Yeah, especially you're doing a remake, not a remaster. So you're building this game from the ground up. So, Jaron, in your opinion, was this what do you think is going to happen in this game? Do you think this game is in a crisis of being canceled? Do you think this game will still have a chance? Do you think this game could be a chance of moving to different developers within the in-house of, I believe they're bought by Embracer, right? They're under Embracer, I believe.
No, Aspire is actually under the parent company of Saber Interactive.
Okay.
So Saber, this is according to Bloomberg, Saber Interactive is going to be assisting in the development, but this was announced back in May, so about 2 to 3 months ago. Crossing out all the BS CEO business talk, they let go, or I'm sorry, they lost their design director and art director, which is a big deal. When you lose your directors, you lose direction. So, I don't think it's going to push the game back too much, but we're definitely going to, because you can still program other parts of the game. You can still continue on other parts of the game.
But it's paused, meaning that no one is touching this game right now.
Yeah, it's paused, and I think that's more due to funding, like investors and funding. Think about it. If they don't continue to flow money into the game or into your company, you can't really continue the work. People aren't going to work for free. They're not going to work on a promise, especially these days. Mm-hmm. So do I think the game's in trouble? Do I think the game's at risk of being canceled? Canceled? No. Delayed? Delayed a lot? Yes. Not Duke Nukem Forever levels, but I think I'm hypothesizing here. It won't come out until probably 2024.
Okay.
2024 at the earliest, middle of 2024 at the earliest. So we're still going to get it during this current console gen, but it's going to be
Okay. I am going to challenge you and say,
Please do.
I think it's going to get the Metroid treatment. I think what's going to happen is, well, slightly, not exactly a Metroid treatment, but kind of. I think that this game is paused, and I think the studio Asper is no longer going to be part of it, and they are going to give this to another developer to be involved with. Maybe Asper will help involve with them, but Asper will no longer be leading the charge. That is the Star Wars game. And I agree that it probably won't come out till 2024 because I think they have to remodel.
Slight correction on my part. I said Saber Interactive was the parent of Aspire. That's correct. But Embracer Group is the parent.
So they are Embracer. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Aspire, Saber, Embracer.
Okay. So with that even being said, that means there's way more options of who can take over this. I mean, they bought Eidos. They bought Eidos and Montreal. Not Eidos and Crystal Dynamic. Maybe they can be an option that they can slide through.
Possibly. I mean, we have to keep in mind, Aspire's known for their ports. They're known for porting games, not necessarily doing something from scratch.
And that's the challenge, right? Because this is their first project and it's not working out for them. So maybe they are not right for this job, which that pause, I think, means that something needs to shift in there. Like, some people got to come and go, or should they... Or you can have it where the same thing with Microsoft, right? The people that were doing Perfect Dark, they had another company come and help them out because they were having trouble. And I believe that was Crystal Dynamic, I believe. They were coming in to help them out with Perfect Dark.
Yeah. If so, yeah. And I mean, you can't subscribe to the sunk cost fallacy, or that company should not subscribe to the sunk cost fallacy. Just keep going because you've invested X amount of dollars. If you got to pull the plug. Don't release something shitty, just to get something out the door. If nothing else, the GTA remake or remasters, Cyberpunk, when it initially came out, a number of different games have shown companies, hey, maybe you should not rely on the publisher's word to shove a game out the door. It does a lot more damage. These aren't the 80s and 90s anymore. You can't pay for a puff piece in GamePro magazine and keep on pushing. So I don't know. I think if they even get their act together, 2024 is generous. Or if they do the Metroid bit, like you said, start from scratch. We're not going to get this probably till 2025. And that's if they put crunch in, which they shouldn't.
Yeah. For people that don't know what I mean by the Metroid 4 thing, it's, at first when they first announced it, it was in development by a different company in Nintendo and not Retro Studios. But then they canceled that and they gave it back to Retro Studio to make that game. So that's why, that game got Metroid 4 got announced, in 18, 17?
Oh, further back. It's like 20. It got announced like 2017. Like
I want to say 17. I want to say 17. And look where we are now. So I can picture that exactly the same amount. So, but I'll put it like this: when Metroid 4 has a release date, that's how many years we'll probably see an equivalent when Star Wars: The Knights of the Republic will be coming out.
Yeah,
because I think it's almost in the same situation.
Not Duke Nukem Forever levels of delay.
No, Duke Nukem was like 10 years. There's no way KOTOR is going to be 10 years. That's too much money. They're going to cancel that. There is no way.
You're better off remaking Jade Empire at that point.
Yeah, especially because of Duke Nukem. It wasn't graphically amazing. They're trying to make Star Wars Knights of the Republic graphically amazing. That's too much money to hold it for 10 years. They're going to cancel that, or someone's going to step in. It has to be those two things.
Honestly, considering the legacy, I would be satisfied if it just had PS4 era graphics with a polished combat system and add some additional story, like pump up the story. KOTOR was one of those games where I inhaled every single side quest because the combat was fun enough. The pacing, everything was fun to where I just wanted more and more and more and more and more, which is why I overlooked so much of the second game's flaws.
Mm-hmm.